All right. For the past 12 years of my life, I have gone to school, sat down in a desk, and had a teacher at the front of the classroom, and they've never failed to teach me so much. But now that I see the tables have turned, now I'm front and center, and I have all these great teachers and administrators in the crowd, and hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two from me. My name is Akbar. I'm a senior at Hillcrest High School, as mentioned, and a few years ago, I encountered what I thought was a problem. And I've learned so much solving it that I thought I would share my perspective and insight with all of you here today. You see, conferences, events, and conventions are held all across the world where attendees can go to learn about the newest innovations and network within their field. At these events, attendees are typically given a conference bag, just like one of these, that are used during the conference. But, after the conference, attendees are typically stuck with a bag that isn't really nice enough for them to use in their everyday lives, but is too nice for them to throw away. This results in thousands and hundreds of thousands of bags piling up in garages and storage areas and warehouses all across the world, all unused. Meanwhile, many members of the homeless community and the underprivileged youth community are still carrying around their belongings in these flimsy plastic bags. And not only are they low quality to carry your valuable belongings in, but they're also bad for the environment. I wanted to do something about these problems, so I started Bags to Riches, a non-profit organization that would collect and donate unwanted and extra conference bags. I approached this idea by setting up bins just like these where attendees could drop off their bags. The bags would then be collected and given to a charity either locally, nationally, or internationally and end up in the hands of someone in need. It was a very, very simple idea, but the tasks were often very complex and time-consuming, which could make things difficult for a high schooler. I started this about 2.5 years ago. I was the only employee, and I still am the only employee, so I'm in charge of finding, calling, and emailing hundreds of conferences to propose the idea. I have to coordinate charity pickups. I have to work out logistics with workers' unions and event centers. And I have to create a website, brochures, posters, and other means to spread the word, amongst many other tasks. It was a lot of work, and it really did keep me busy, but the hard work has paid off. So like I said, it started about 2.5 years ago, and to date, Bags to Riches has collected and donated over 12,000 conference bags across 5 continents. We've given them to the homeless, refugees, and underprivileged youth from Bangladesh to Gambia to Peru, all across the world, and they're all using these bags in their everyday lives. And these results, these 12,000 bags, is a result that looks really good on paper, but I think one of the most valuable results were how I changed as a person and as a student. I saw that as Bags to Riches progressed, I started seeing changes in my behavior for the better. I started dealing with my stress a lot more effectively and cutting distractions from my life. Because deep down inside, I knew that the community was benefiting from the donation of conference bags. I knew that the environment was benefiting from these conference bags reducing the waste of plastic bags. And I knew that I was benefiting as I was consistently challenging myself and learning along the way. Above all, Bags to Riches changed the way I thought and looked at problems. Now, I kind of want to digress a little bit and talk about how there are 2 main forms of motivation. There is this extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is when we're motivated to do something by outside factors like money, rewards, or students often are motivated by grades in school. But a more effective form of motivation is this intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation is when you don't necessarily need outside factors to perform a task. You do it because you want to do it. And for me, Bags to Riches was a very intrinsically rewarding activity. Every time someone in need got a conference bag in their hand, it sparked an overall drive within my life, and I wanted to perform more, and I ended up learning a lot more about the world around me. And it led me to think, Bags to Riches was never a school project, but what if projects in school were like this? As a high school student, I find a really large disconnect between school and real life. They're almost like 2 completely different entities. The application of the knowledge that we learn in school dissipates the second we walk out of the classroom. And if we can't implement this knowledge anywhere but on our homework assignments, how do you expect us to be interested in it? For example, you learn math, you learn calculus, and students often ask, how can I use this in my everyday life? There's literally no way for me to use it. And I think a good solution to this problem is in projects where students can apply their knowledge. That way the application is clear and the results are tangible. Something that I think can even further the internal drive of students is projects with a meaning or with service at its core. If students are seeing the true impact in their work, like I saw with Bags to Riches, you're going to see an increased motivation, an increased work ethic, and an increased knowledge of whatever subject you're trying to teach. Additionally, the impacts on the community would be tremendous. Imagine this. Imagine if students were writing non-profit mission statements in English class, or helping geometrically design a bridge for a village in geometry class, or helping maybe create a new museum in history class. If done correctly, students can still properly learn the necessary information, but at the same time, the application is very apparent, and these things are very applicable in our real life, and we're closing this gap as school will become real life with these real life projects. And these service projects will also have many other benefits, including better preparing us for the workforce, especially with this new up-and-coming revolution of socially responsible businesses. These are businesses that could be for-profit organizations with service at its core. And I think these are some of the true solutions to some of the world's greatest problems. And by implementing these service projects and allowing us to learn all this necessary information, we're better suiting us students for taking on some of the world's greatest challenges. Now, as a teacher, you may not be able to implement some grand project into your classroom, and I'm not saying that's completely necessary. But what I am saying is that we need to add meaning to what we're learning in schools. Make sure that the application of knowledge is very clear. And if there is no immediate application, make sure us students understand the long-term implications. For example, not too long ago, when I was just a little kid, I was learning the alphabet, right? And today, I don't use the alphabet all too often, but I do read and write every single day. And if I never knew the alphabet, I would never learn how to read or write. And so next time your student asks you, what's the point of learning calculus? There's literally no way I can use this in my everyday life. Tell them that they're learning the ABCs or the alphabet of electrical engineering or technology or many other potential future professions of these students. Helping us see the big picture will aid in the way that we look at schools and set our goals. Currently in our schools, we're in a very extrinsically motivated system. My friends and I are setting goals like, I want to get an A in Spanish, which is a good goal, but as teachers, you can push us to setting more intrinsically motivated goals. Goals like, I want to know how to speak Spanish, or I want to know how to read Spanish. Goals like these are a lot Goals, can you guys hear me all right? Oh, okay, sorry. Goals like these are a lot more intrinsically driven, and our students are more likely to fulfill the goals in that sense. So the big question is, how do you as teachers get us to setting intrinsically motivated goals? And I think the answer is simple. In whatever subject you teach, be it math or science or history or business, you have to have had a passion in that subject, right? That's why you decided to make a career out of it. Your job is to convey your passion for your subject to us students, even if it's not in the curriculum. Now, I'm not worried about that because I know each and every single one of you here today are very intrinsically motivated actors. And I know that because you're here at TEDx Canyon School District or you're watching this online. You care about whoever you're educating, and you're taking steps to learn more about education so you can better the education of whoever you're teaching. And as a student, I can tell you I very much appreciate that, because as teachers and administrators, I can tell you that you have one of the most important jobs, is what you do or do not do directly influences the future of this world. I can honestly tell you I would not be the same person I am today if it weren't for some of the teachers I've had in the past. Now, with that said, I am only one student of millions around the nation, and we're all full of great ideas. And just like you listened to me for the past couple of minutes, I encourage you to listen to your students and other students alike. We're full of great ideas and would love our voices to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, you can learn just as much from us as we learn from you. Thank you.